Thank you for joining us this evening. I want to just quickly say thank you. I don't see the principal, but it's amazing that we get to be here and that we get to do this again and again. And so I'm going to ask a schools question. There's an easy one and a hard one, I think. The easy one, hopefully, is are you supporting the $250 million bond for November dedicated to school facilities so that we can improve schools like this? And then the follow-up is bonds are actually a terrible way to fund school construction. 30 cents on the dollar go to financing, go to banks. They don't go to the classroom. So how do we get to a dedicated funding stream? Do we tax marijuana? Do we tax online gambling? What's the next thing, and how can we get it where we need it? And obviously there's a lot of needs, but we spend, you guys know this, $80 million a year paying a mortgage for school construction improvements. So how do we get those 30 cents back?
Okay, let's put some answers.
Well, first of all, I obviously support that. Providence was a little slow to the gun, and some of the other cities, like for Woonsocket, where there was the federal money, they had the highest federal reimbursement. So I think to harness that, what we need to do is see if Providence can get its share of dollars and also work on the reimbursement aspect of it from the federal government. Because we're not as high as Woonsocket, but we're pretty close to that. So the liability for the taxpayer. The question of a bond is you have two types of bonds. You have a general bond, then you have a specific bond. That specific bond is for a source of specific revenue. You're absolutely right. And the question becomes, what can we do? Gambling. I don't know if people want that, but that's one. Marijuana is another one. The issue of tolls and what we're doing with that. We even talked about specific sources for historical properties, even in the construction and rehab. If there are buildings that are for education and they fall into the historical category, they're entitled to more monies as well, which would bring the taxpayer burden down. So that's all fluid for this session, and that's part of the Public Building Authority in conjunction with the General Assembly. Thank you.
I surely would support that bond and encourage others to do so. Let me just inform you that the casino that has been put in Lincoln, up the river, some of those proceeds was earmarked to schools. To date, I don't believe a dime has gone there. And yes, to go ahead and tax marijuana or tax something else that's available to be taxed, we have to be vigilant to make sure that the monies are going to go to the schools, because what's been earmarked, and you know they have got some good monies up there, even some of mine, it hasn't gone to any school that it should be, and that was part of the entire contract.
I have a different perspective. I don't want to support $250 million for the schools. I don't want to support $1 billion for the schools, because if anyone knows anything about anything, Providence alone needs $1 billion. So we need $2 billion if we're truly going to bring them up to snuff. And we shouldn't be competing one neighborhood against another. This is a great example. You're standing in it. This school was supposed to be totally renovated, $46 million. And what happened? Went on the other side of the city. The haves got it, because it's all about counting the votes. And don't ever forget that. Don't you want your kids to have smart boards? Don't you want your teachers to have smart boards? Don't you want to have access to computers? Let's delegate that or relegate that money for marijuana, gambling, whatever else, specifically designated to repair the schools. That's what I say.